Coming to you live from a little grass shack in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's the Junior Kekuewa Jr. Show, starring Junior Kekuewa Jr.
Yeah, for crying out loud.
Join Junior along with the Wayne Borhe Band as he makes any kind from Hawaii.
I have no idea.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Junior Kekuewa Jr.
It's time for the podcast. How you always? How you always? Woo! How's it always? How you always? Oh, man. Hawaiians. Okay, enough already. All right. It's time for the podcast. Hey, how's it? How's it? And a lot, well, where I come from, we say how's it a lot. Yeah, I come from Kauai. Kauai in the house represent. All right. Okay, sit down already. All right. I think, Kauai is why. You got to watch out because you acknowledge these guys. They will take over. Ladies and gentlemen, they will take over. Okay, so I want to say thank you for joining us. And, first, the attitude of gratitude. So we have to really express our gratitude, to everybody who is actually, listening out there, because we have so many people that just tuned in for like the last couple of episodes. So we want to say thank you. We saw the stats this morning. It looks very, very promising. And we want to thank you. So if you're listening on Apple Podcast, or if you're listening on, Spotify, or one of our many, many affiliates, as it were, we'd like to say mahalo. So thank you for listening, and on with the podcast. All right. So today we're going to talk about something a little different. Okay. We're going to talk about manifestation. Okay. But manifestation, we're going to talk about like how you can mathematically get this stuff down. Okay. It's mathematical. Yeah. You can use a slide rule if you wanted to, but yeah, no, it really is. And all you have to be aware of is like the process. Okay. Now we always talk about ask, believe, receive, right? Ask, believe, receive. It's the same thing over and over and over. Okay. Now, a lot of people have hang-ups asking. Okay, you ever see a man ask for directions? Okay, I'm one of those guys. Okay, and I don't ask for directions. I try to figure it out. Why? Because I'm a man. There you go. You see the logic behind there? Okay, you see that? You see that in the back over there in the corner? Okay, yeah. So that's the logic, right? In the back of our heads, we're like, no, I'm gonna figure this out. Right. And then, when you've spent like, I don't know, 3 hours looking for something going in circles, all of a sudden she says, well, maybe you want to try going over there. And then when you go over there, you find it, that kind of thing. Right. So, I mean, because you go everywhere else but. Right. OK. So anyway, so men are like that. All right. Now, I'm not saying all men are like that. Some men are like women. And so never mind. All right. So this is a comedy podcast. It's a law of attraction comedy podcast, and we teach you how to manifest stuff. Now, I want to just say, before I get into everything, manifestation is your subconscious. OK, this is all subconscious training. Right? And this is not voodoo. This is not magic. It's not satanic. It doesn't have a religion. It doesn't have a religious aspect to it, good or bad, pro or con. Okay? It's just you, the human being. Okay, now when I started doing this stuff, right? Like back in 2007, I started. Okay? And I started late because it was offered to me like years before that. But I never thought I wanted to improve my life. I thought everything was happening because, I hit the popularity scene in 1999 and, things were going good. And I didn't want things to change. And most of all, I did not want responsibility, because knowledge carries responsibility. So if you know something, you're responsible to it. Okay. And I didn't want that because I knew that. My uncle taught me that when I was younger. Right. So with knowledge comes responsibility. And so I didn't want any. So I was like, nah, I don't want to watch that DVD, The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And I give her credit because it did change my life. It changed my life in a couple of ways. My first mentor, right? He actually taught me the majority of the stuff I saw in The Secret. Maybe about 60% of it I already knew. And then 40% was brand new, but the 40% that was new came from quantum physics because I had never been exposed to that before. And I was like, whoa, this is quantum physics. Like, this is something new, and so in that respect, that part was new. That part was brand new for me. And so when that happened, I was like, whoa, okay. So this part was, the new part, right? And so anyway, it kind of goes like that and goes on down the road. But in 2007, when I put on the DVD and I saw it and I go, oh, this is what my uncle was talking about. This is what, you heard of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Okay, so I had rich uncle, poor uncle. Okay, and the poor uncle is the one that taught me. Okay, because because they always credit the rich guys, right? Okay, the rich guys have this and this, and they have the secrets to wealth. No, you know what? Sometimes it's the people that know that they don't have to prove anything. Okay, sometimes it's poor uncle, sometimes it's poor dad that knows better. Okay. But, it's for a reason, really, okay? Because with knowledge comes responsibility. With money comes responsibility as well. And sometimes you kind of, okay, so let me paint this, before we get into this manifestation, techniques and all of that, let me just say that I want to put it this way. When you are consumed with, getting ahead, when you are consumed with being ambitious, when you are consumed with getting to the top, okay, because I was consumed with it at one point because I thought that I wasn't going to make it. I thought, oh man, we're going to miss the boat. And so I was like, push. And my business partner, okay, of 30 years, okay, but at the time, we were like, I don't know, 20 something in, and my business partner, that's the first time he threatened to quit. And that's the only time. And he threatened to quit. And he told me we were sitting upstairs in this 2-story house that we were renting. We were renting the top floor. And we had a meeting. And it was my office manager and me and him. And we would have these powwows, right? And I was trying to get into Waikiki. We couldn't find any sponsors because, there were these people who had moved on into management positions with liquor companies who were the guys that, sponsored stuff. And, but they were friends with this guy that, started turning everyone at the radio station against me. Okay, so when that happened, right? Like I knew, I'm like, oh man, we got to go ask them for money. Like there's no way these guys are going to do anything for me, right? Because they've all been worked against me. And and most of them did not like me, but they did not know why. they didn't know why, because there was nothing, but they didn't like me. They just didn't like me, right? So, and I think that's the height of ignorance when you don't like somebody and you don't know why. Okay. And this means you have been led into that situation. Okay. And shame on you, because that means you're brainless, basically. All right. So now that, we say that, okay. So the ambition part, if you're consumed with that, if that's all you do, if you're chasing money or chasing notoriety or chasing accomplishments, it doesn't matter. It could be accomplishments, could be goal setting, could be manifesting. But if you're consumed by it, okay, so this is the way my business partner put it to me. He goes, look, if this is not going to be fun anymore, I don't want to do it. And I stopped in my tracks and I'm like, ooh, I had to swallow hard. And I had to go like, oh man, okay. So, and right. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, calm the F down, right? Like, it was an immediate thing. It was like, whoa, okay, stop doing this, stop, cause I felt right now, one of my mentors, okay, when I was young, okay, he was Hawaii's greatest star. Right. And I hung out with him. I asked him all the stupid questions when I was 17, and he answered them all. He made time for me. He was patient, and I know this, right? Because when I got to be popular, popular, you're going to be popular. Anyway, so I told you it's a comedy podcast. There you go, Hawaiians. All right. So, but when I got to be popular, right? I had these young kids, these these 18, 19, 20, 22, 25-year-olds, right? And they were coming up to me going, Uncle, how do we do this? How do we do that? And at that moment, right, when that started happening, I knew right away, this is because you're popular, okay? So I always made time for the kids because somebody made time for me. So I was very conscientious about paying it forward, okay? So I used to make time for the kids. I used to let the kids go, right? I mentioned their names on the radio. The guys I work with on the radio, well, one guy, anyway, and he used to tell me, it's not about them. Nobody knows them. They know you. It's about you. And I go, no. It's about all of us. I said, I have a crew. I have these are my kids. It was kind of like for you old timers, Jerry Lewis, right? Kind of like Jerry's kids. Okay. Well, we had Kekuewa's kids. And I was like, no, those are my kids. And I'm bringing them with me and I'm mentioning them and it's, my commercials. And so he couldn't do anything because they were on my commercials, right? But he would just give me his opinion because, oh no, you cannot do that. But you see, these guys, so when I say these guys, I just mean people that were in power. Okay, when I started pushing and I started opening those giant doors for my kids, they were like, whoa, no, this is not part of the plan. Why? Because, they looked at it like, okay, you were the lucky one who like snuck in, because I did. I pushed my way in, right? And I pushed my way in and I pried the door open. The Rock says, Dwayne Johnson says, when opportunity is not happening, you go up to the door and you knock it down and then you introduce yourself. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't really knock down the door, but I kind of pushed the door so that they couldn't keep it closed. They had to open the door. Okay, and I built this advertising machine that they could not overcome. They could not beat my advertising machine. And the thing about these guys, okay, like they come and they're working 4 hours a day. Okay, I'm working 16 to 18 hours a day. Okay, and here's the thing, right? This guy, and we're gonna get back to the thing. Okay, we're just going out to the left, Hawaiians. Everything you own to the box to the left, in the box to the left. Okay, so but there was this guy, Dr. Armand Hammer, and he was being interviewed by Barbara Walters back in the 80s. And I was watching this thing and she said, do you consider yourself lucky? And he said, when you're working 7 days a week, okay, 7 days a week, 18 to 20 hours a day. Or well, he said 18 hours a day. He said 18 hours a day, you're bound to get lucky. When you're working 7 days a week, 18 hours a day, you're bound to get lucky. So I just figured, well, I need to work 18 hours a day. And basically, I did that a lot. And every 2 weeks, I had this hit the wall day where I could not move. And I just, in fact, I just had one of those days. A couple of days ago, I just slept like all day just to catch up and allow my body to catch up, but that's how I work. And that's how I accomplish things. And I have it down to a science. And I'm going to show you guys the science today. Okay, of how you manifest and how you can just get it down to a science, precise, and get everything you want. Anything you want. Doesn't matter. Anything and everything you want. Okay. So anyway, those things happen. And I was pushing too hard. And then my business partner goes, well, if it's not going to be fun anymore, I quit. Because we started by having fun. And then, when we were having fun, right, I was like, okay, we could do this, and Wayne was like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. He was basically emotionless, right? And, anybody else would have been like, wow, we're going to do that? Okay, yeah. They would get excited. He wasn't excited. He was like, okay, yeah, all right. So we set out on that path. And we accomplished every single thing in music and otherwise in Hawaii that we could. And this was the result of a couple of things. It was his musical genius. It was my creative genius, or let's say because my genius is in creativity. Let's just say that, that creative side, right? And then his music side. And when you put the two together, it was an unstoppable combination. And you see this with a lot of duos in the world. A lot of people who go down the road together. okay, musicians, or, sometimes it's not like there was this Ferranti and Teicher, these two pianists, and individually they're pretty good. But when you put them together, the magic happens. And we were like that because we knew each other musically, like so well. Like it was amazing. I knew him, he knew me, and he was blind. Okay, so we knew each other in the dark. We knew each other with our eyes closed. Like we knew where the other one was going, because we could hear it. We could hear the anticipation of the next move. And I can't really describe how that is, but I can tell you it's an amazing feeling when you're going down the path musically, like you're playing a verse, and when that turnaround happens, you know what he's prone to do. Okay, and he knows what I'm prone to do. And then we wait for the first one to make a move, and then we go, okay, he's going over there. And then boom, like we both meet over there. I mean, that's what it's like. Anyway, all right, so now, how do you manifest all these things? And what are some of the things you need to know? Excuse me. What are some of the things you need to know about manifestation and all this stuff? Well, you need to, first of all, observe the fact that there's the conscious, the subconscious, and superconscious. The conscious mind makes the decision. It makes the commitment. The subconscious takes the instruction from the conscious mind. So let's say you're going to buy a new car, right? So the conscious mind says, all right, new car. The subconscious says, okay, I will start to work on new car. Once the subconscious believes that new car is the thing, it will start showing you evidence of it. It will start creating pathways to it, okay? And the superconscious will provide you with intuitive thought for it concerning the topic, whatever it is, right? And so in this case, new car. So the subconscious will be like, well, maybe you should get a side job, side hustle. Maybe you should put some money away. Maybe you should get a loan. Maybe, all these things, okay? And this is all, intuitive thought. Okay, but intuitive thought concerning the new car. And that's how you work on it. Now, there's a few things you need to understand about this. Okay, you need to marry intention with emotion. Okay, first it's focus. First it's attention first. So attention, okay, then intention. Okay, attention is like you're focused on something. So let's say let's say it's the car. Okay, so first, your attention is on the car. Okay, brand new car. Now, here's the other thing that I suggest. You should be in the market for a car when you don't need a car. That's the only time I go shopping for a car. Like right now, I kind of like have to, because my lease is running out in November, and it's September right now. Okay, so now I have the vision board on my phone. Like, I'm totally absorbed by this thing. And already yesterday, I found the pathway that's gonna happen. So I'm like, okay, I don't know the exact price, I don't know the exact deal, I don't know the exact anything, and I don't have to know, because the how is God's job. Okay, just know that. Know that the how is God's job. When you give the how to God, okay, or the Christians say when you give it up and give it to God, right? Like it's too big for you, right? So you give it to God. God will take care of it, and He will. Well, God is not a He, but yeah, God will. Okay, so now let's look at the process of focus, intention, emotion. Okay, so the focus is the car, right? So you need to be focused on what kind of car. So what kind of car are you talking about? Well, in this case, I'm talking about a certain model, right? Certain color, certain make. Okay, and I got this all in my head. So I'm like, okay, that car. Now, right, it goes to the subconscious. So now we're talking about intention, because we have to intend that we're going to get this car, and we have to give it a date. Okay, let's intend it by whatever. Okay. I've already been told that, okay, if I order it, it's not going to be ready by till February. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm good with that. Okay, because I love the car I have right now. Like I love that car. I don't really love it. Like I'm not attached to it kind of thing, but I just really enjoy it. I'm like, yeah, I could stay in this car for another year if I wanted to, or whatever, right? I'm not going to be doing something stupid like buying the car. Okay. Don't buy the car. Okay. Get out of ownership mentality, you guys. Okay. What is ownership mentality? Because you got to, when you feel you got to own everything, this has to be mine. I'm going to, mine. Okay. Even right down to your women, guys. Okay. Because and women too. You guys are guilty of this too. Okay. Mine. He's mine. Right? Daffy Duck syndrome. Mine. It's all mine. Right? Okay. No. Don't do that. Okay. So it's not, okay. First of all, men, okay, you got to learn something. Okay. She's not yours. It's just your turn. That's it. Okay. It's just your turn. Okay. Now women, it's kind of the same for you too. It's just your turn. Okay. It's just your turn. All right. But if you're lucky, right? If you're lucky, that turn could last like a long time. We screw it up by putting conditions and demands on it. And then pretty soon it's like, it's no fun anymore. Let's get rid of her or let's get rid of him. That kind of thing, right? Okay. Anyway, so now you have the direction. You have the commitment from the conscious mind. Now it goes into the subconscious. Now the subconscious starts giving you proof of it. Okay. It starts creating pathways to it. And then now the superconscious, right, is feeding you the intuitive thought. Maybe it could go this way. Maybe you could do this. Maybe you could do that to help it. Maybe you could do this, right? So now your job is to act on intuitive thought. If intuitive thought is telling you like, maybe you should get a side hustle, go look into a side hustle. Okay. Just don't ignore the intuitive thought. Okay. Check it out, try it. Go for it kind of thing. Now, when you do that, when it goes into your subconscious, to imprint it properly in your subconscious, okay, you have to do it with emotion. Okay, what does that mean? Well, you have to be in a good mood. If you're gonna manifest something, right, you got to be in a good mood. Okay, so be happy. Okay, now if you're not in a good mood, wait till you're in a good mood to imprint it in your subconscious. Okay, so it would be like, yes, I want this new car, or I have this new car. I have this new car. Okay, now you don't have the car yet. In reality, you don't have the car yet. Okay, you have to act as if. And why is this? Somebody asked me one time on my lives. I do a live every morning on 2 Facebook pages, 1 TikTok page. One, let's see, what is the other one? Oh gosh, we have so many. We have 7 of them every morning. Trovo in Europe. Okay. And we're on Twitch, all in the morning, like all at once. We do it through Streamlabs. So anyway, so we're on all these platforms, and somebody asked me one time, they go, well, okay, what's the difference between delusion? Okay. That feeling that's not real. Okay, what's the difference between delusion and acting as if? Okay, well, acting as if, when you act as if, you have to use your imagination. You have to pretend, okay? You have to pretend small kind. Okay, sometimes you have to pretend big kind. Okay, but you have to pretend. Why is that? Well, because if you don't pretend, you're not going to grow into what you really want to grow into. It's that simple. Okay. So in other words, there was this guy, he was he was in the insurance industry, and he wanted to get into this company. And I told him, you gotta get dressed in the morning, grab your briefcase or whatever you use, and get down there and go to the building and go in the building and absorb the ambiance and pretend you work at the company. And keep doing it until somebody accepts your job interview or grants you a job interview. Then go down and then, apply, whatever. Long story short, he got the job. Long story short, he's working for the company now. Okay, well, I don't know if he's still there. It's been a few years. But he was working for the company. He didn't get the position he wanted, but he got a position. Okay, look, all that matters, guys, is that you get in the door. You can work anything after that, but you need to get in the door. You need to get in the game, and you need to get in where you want to get in before you can work your way up. Okay, you need to get in. That's the name of the game. So you need to act as if. Okay, so now the conscious mind makes the decision, okay, a new car goes into the subconscious. Now the subconscious is like giving you, references to it, giving you confirmations of it. Okay, now you're getting intuitive thought from the superconscious. Okay, now what happens? Well, now you have to use emotion. Okay, because it's the emotion that's going to make the difference on the imprint. Okay, now this can go either way. The subconscious does not pass judgment. Okay, there's no judgment with the subconscious. It does not know right from wrong. It does not know good from bad. It does not know any of those things. It does not judge. So what happens? Well, it believes what you tell it. So if you're acting as if it thinks you're working for the insurance company, like that guy, okay, it thinks that you work there. You're going there, you walk through the doors, you're in the lobby, you're looking at the directory, right? You're looking at the elevators, you're watching people go in and out and stuff like that. Your subconscious thinks you work there. It doesn't know the difference. It can't differentiate. So what do? Okay, you be excited about it. There, that's how you imprint it in your subconscious. You be excited about it. Now, a lot of people have a problem being excited about something that's not there yet. Okay, a lot of people. Okay, I'm here to tell you, the hell with your problems. Okay, ignore your problems. Now you have to be able to pretend. You used to pretend when you were in elementary school. Remember that elementary school? You pretended every day. Okay, you could take a stick. And that stick could be a gun, and you could go play army outside in the, right? You remember? In the playground, right? And then when you got older, what happened? Well, people told you weren't acting mature enough, right? Enough. So, and this started about 6th grade. 7th grade, intermediate school. Well, got to grow up now, right? By the time you're freshman in high school, you stop pretending already. Why? Well, because now you're a teenager, you're serious into life, and you have it all figured out, right? Okay, wrong. Okay, wrong. All right, so what you need to do is you need to reevaluate, okay? You need to get your imagination back. You need to start pretending, all right? Now, go back to when you were young. This is why Einstein said, education will take you from A to Z, but imagination will take you everywhere, right? Because you never run out of imagination. Imagination, there is no confinements to imagination, okay? It's not finite. It's infinite. It can go as big as you want. And this is the problem with people that don't ask big enough, okay? So when I was, asking for things, right? I would just look at something and I would go, okay, I want that. And that's what I would get. Okay, so now I have this screensaver with a Rolls Royce on it because I figure, well, okay, let's test the blast, right? I mean, so something will come along to support the Rolls Royce, right? Supposed to, right? So what the hell good am I if I don't do it? What the hell good am I if I can't do this? Right? So I thought, okay, I just got this idea. It was intuitive thought. You know why? Because this girl that I know, her daughter had this shirt, okay? And I did not know a Rolls Royce was what I was going for. I did not know that this was going to happen. Okay? And she had this shirt and Ghost was written on the shirt. It's a popular rock group. Okay, Ghost. And so she showed up with this shirt and I started teaching her. She's one of my voice students. She still is. And so she, wore this shirt, Ghost. And she wore it like quite a few times and I saw it and, I'm like, okay, and listened to the songs and she does a couple of their songs and she was singing their songs and everything. And I was like, okay, all right. And then by the time I got this idea, and the reason I got this idea, it was really weird. It was for my vision board, but I thought I was going to put a Bentley on there, right? Because I saw these old ladies down here in Honolulu in this district. Well, they own strip clubs, so there's an unlimited supply of cash, but they're these old Korean ladies and they're driving Bentleys. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, if I can see the Bentley in the neighborhood, I know it's possible. right? Because if it was only in, I don't know, on Rodeo Drive in Hollywood or whatever, okay, maybe it's not reachable, maybe it's not doable. But I saw this stuff like right on Keomoku, down, in here in Honolulu, right? I'm in Hawaii. And so I thought, okay, Bentley, right? And there's this guy that brings this white Bentley to the beach, like to the park that I walk around, right? And I've never seen the guy, but I see the car, I see the Bentley parked in the parking lot, and I'm like, whoa, Bentley, right? Okay, and I'm happy when I see this. I'm happy for people, and I'm going like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I'm so happy that he can do this, right? Whatever he does. Okay, so, and what you do is irrelevant, okay? Because it's up to God. It's really up to God. It's not up to the occupation you have, okay? So anyway, right, I'm making this vision board, and I go, okay, maybe I should, grab a Bentley. And so this girl I know gives me a picture, right, of this car that looks like a Bentley. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I got the picture, and I go, I think I'll add that to my vision board. Because to me, Bentley is possible because I see them. I see them in person all the time. They drive around. And so I'm like, okay. So I took the thing and I went online and I went to go look for it because I wanted to see the whole car. And then it occurred to me that, wait a minute, this isn't a Bentley. This is a Rolls Royce. Okay, so that was one thing, right? Now, I go to Instagram because now I want to see a video of it because, when I see the video, right, that's, okay, so here's the thing about visualization. When you watch a video, it's much more powerful than looking at a picture, okay? Just so you know. All right, so so this is my process. I'm telling you guys my process. Excuse me, I'm telling you guys my process. Okay, because I want you guys to be able to do it too. I want you guys to enjoy what I've enjoyed since 2007. I did everything like this, including my Waikiki show, like everything. Okay, that happened in 2010. Okay, but this here, so this is what. So I went to Instagram. I looked for a video. Okay, and I just searched, Rolls Royce, right? And I got this video, and it was from Dubai. And so I have a downloader, so I just download the reel. And I downloaded the reel, and when I saw this, I'm like, whoa. And the music was awesome. Okay, so the music, was playing, everything. And, just to give you guys an audio feel, I'll play it for you. Okay, this is the music, and I'll put it right by the microphone so you guys can hear this. This is the music of the video. There you go. There you go. Wow, that's my car right there. See? Yep, that's my car. Okay. There you go. See, it was like that, just like that. Okay, that's the music. Now I got it in my notes. So I pull it up all the time. It's in my phone. I pull it up and I look at it and I watch it all the time. Excuse me. Okay, and this is what you should do. Okay, so that's called visualization. Okay, so affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Okay, so anyway, so that's my process. So I got the video, right? And, I'm going about my day. And I'm visualizing. But when I get halfway through the video, it shows a close-up of the door of the car, okay, of the Rolls Royce. Guess what it says on the car door? It says Ghost. It's a Rolls Royce Ghost. Now, I was familiar with a Rolls Royce Phantom. I was familiar with a Rolls Royce Silver Cloud back in the old days, right? I did not know that Rolls Royce had a car named Ghost. And I'm like, wait a minute. My student had that on her shirt. Ghost. Okay, now I pull up this thing, right? So to me, that's synchronicity. Okay, remember what synchronicity is, right? Confirmation. Okay, so that's confirmation. So I'm like, okay, I'm on the right track. Now, first I see it on a t-shirt. Now I see it in the Rolls Royce. So I'm like, oh, okay. So there is a Rolls Royce called Ghost. And I'm like, whoa, right? So I'm like, okay, I told you it was a comedy podcast. All right, so I see this. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm on the right track. Okay, I'm doing good. This is a thing. All right, we're good. Okay, so So that happened, right? And I'm manifesting this thing. I'm working on it. So I give myself 3 years. I give myself 3 years to do this. Okay. So in 3 years, I'm going to, whatever I'm going to do, I don't know. God is in control. I'm letting God do the how. God will show me how. I don't know how. I have no idea how. I just know that that's going to happen. So I did some numbers, right? It's going to cost $50,000 down. Okay. That's going to be the down payment, $50,000. And this is for a lease. Okay. This is for a lease, Hawaiians. Okay. It's for a lease. $50,000 down for, you know how you put $5,000 down for a lease? Okay, this is $50,000. Okay, you put $50,000 down for this is for a 3-year lease. You put $50,000 down and it's $5,000 a month for the lease. Now for the term, it's $160,000 for 3 months. $160,000. Okay, sit with that for a little while. $160,000 to drive a Rolls-Royce Ghost for 3 years. Okay. But if God brings this, and this is what I told you guys on the podcast before, in regards to manifestation, I say it on the live every time. When you commit to something, God brings you the sustenance. He brings you whatever is necessary to sustain it. But first, you have to do the affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Okay, now I did not start with the affirmations yet. I think I wrote one affirmation, but that's it. I didn't pursue it actively because I have 3 years. I'm not in a rush. I just want to go along my merry way and see what happens. Okay. But anyway, so there's that. Okay. So now there's, the Rolls Royces come into play. So how do you use this manifestation practice in a daily fashion? Okay, so it's attention plus intention. What is your intention? Like, why are you doing this? Okay, I'm doing this as a challenge. Okay, I'm doing this because, hey, if God is real, right? And I'm not testing God. I'm saying if God is real, I can have whatever I want. Why am I asking small? That's the real question. Why am I always asking small? Why am I always asking for $5,000 and then, this small, Mercedes when I could be asking $50,000 for down payment on the Rolls Royce? Okay, so we're just going to test it. We're just going to find out. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, so attention, intention, and then equals coincidence. The things that we call coincidence. Okay, so what's the daily formula? How do we use this? Well, first of all, visualize where you want to be. Visualize the goal. Visualize a feeling, a situation, whatever it is. You want to feel a certain way? Visualize it. Okay, wrap your mind around it, in other words. Okay, number 2, pay attention to what supports that thing. Okay, so what supports the idea? What supports the action? What kind of actions are going to support it? Okay, what kind of people do you have to be around? What kind of habits do you have to have? All of those things. Okay, all of the things that will support whatever it is your goal is. Okay, now you got to start small. I did not start with Rolls Royce. Okay, I started with, I really started with Mercedes, but then it kind of went $400 Toyota, went Jeep Cherokee. I don't know how much that was, $6,000. Jeep Cherokee. And then it went $10,000. And then it was, Nissan Maxima. And then after that, a string of brand new cars since 2007. Like a string, just like a string, like 4 Infinities. And I'm on my 3rd Mercedes. So it's going to be the 4th Mercedes is coming up. Okay, and I intend to do Mercedes. I like Mercedes. I might do Lexus because, my mom has expressed the desire to go look at Lexus. So if she makes a decision, and she goes, let's get Lexuses. I'm like, okay. The kind of mom that takes you to a restaurant and said, we're having roast beef. And you got to say, okay. Okay, that's my mom. Anyway, but like that. So I don't know. It may be a Lexus. I don't care. I don't drive that much anymore. So, I just drive from here to there, whatever. So anyway, and then what else do you need for this formula? Well, you set daily intentions to act, speak, think, and feel in alignment. That's what you do. This is about being in alignment with God. Let me say it again. Alignment with God. Okay, well, how do you wrap your mind around that? It's the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious working in alignment, working together. Okay, that's working with God. Why? Because God is in you. You are part of God. You are a part of God. You're a co-creator with God. God lives within you. You have more power than you think. Okay? If you think that you just live, get old, die, if that's your view on life, then okay. But I'm here to tell you, you have more power than that. You have more power than that. Okay? So trust that what you need will show up as long as you're aligned. As long as you're aligned. Whatever it is, you have to trust. You have to know like you know it's going to happen. Okay, that's what I did for my Waikiki show. Nobody wanted to sponsor me. All these guys were against me. The radio guys salted me with all these people. And I'm like, and it didn't matter. It did not matter. When we finally signed the contracts, I'm like, I didn't need these guys, right? I paid for it myself. My other company paid for it. So there was my entertainment company. There was my wedding and party business company. Okay, there's my singing school. Okay, that. And then so it was the wedding and party business that paid for the Waikiki show. All the contracts that came in, the money went straight over to the Waikiki show. Gave it to the hotel. Okay, I borrowed 2 shows, right? Because hey, I'm not superhuman. I'm not perfect. Okay, so I had to borrow 2 shows worth of money. And I did that. And why? Because I was like, no, this is for me and my kids. This is for me and my kids to have fun, right? And the only regret that I think I had with the show was that, my original mentor wasn't there. He had passed away already. He wasn't there to see me do this. Okay, that was the only downside to the whole thing. Other than that, it was perfect. It was perfect. Okay, but anyway, all right. So we go on our merry way, and boom, Waikiki show happens, and me and the kids have fun, and it's all paid for by my other company. We paid the guys that we borrowed a show here and 1 show there. We paid them back the following month, everything, because it was last minute, so we needed a little bit more, and boom, they were there for me. Okay, and so and I paid one friend with interest because he charged me interest. I'm like, okay, yeah, here's your interest. There you go. But anyway, but that happened. Okay, now let me explain to you the process of our vocalization just briefly. Okay, it stimulates our vocalization exercise. They're straight tones. In the spiritual community, it's called toning. Okay, but they're straight tones that trigger oxytocin and endorphins. Now, what's the difference between endorphins, dopamine, oxytocin? What's the difference between these 3? Well, endorphins help you endure pain and feel good in the moment. Okay, it's the feel-good hormone. Dopamine is the motivation hormone. Dopamine, when you're online, you're scrolling. Okay, it's the reward hormone. Okay, so it rewards you. Okay, you do something, you flip, you scroll, that kind of thing, and then boom, you get the dopamine hit. Okay, it's a reward. Okay, so it motivates you for more dopamine. So you chase the dopamine, almost like an adrenaline junkie, kind of the same. Okay. Now, oxytocin makes you want to share those good feelings with others. It strengthens relationships. Okay. And so oxytocin is important, especially in a relationship with a man and a woman or whatever. It doesn't matter. A woman and woman, man and man, whatever. I'm not here to pass judgments and moral codes and all of that. Do what you want to do. Okay. But I'm just saying that that's important. Oxytocin is important in that way. Okay. So these hormones get triggered by the vocalization process. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Affirmations, self-explanatory. I am so happy and grateful now that I have my new car. Thank you. That's your affirmation. You write it every morning when your brain is in theta state. You recite it out loud every night when your brain is in theta state. This is not magic. This is your subconscious. Okay? This is not magic. I'll say it 1,000,000 times till I die. This is subconscious. They don't tell you that. When they're trying to sell you their course for, I don't know, $5,000, or they're trying to get you to go to their retreat to do guided meditations that, actually cost maybe, I don't know, $10 to do. And they're charging you, $8,000 to go, for 2 days. to listen to seminars and then participate in the guided meditation. Okay, so yeah, you can do it for much less. Okay, and there are people online. They have meditations online. Okay, I do meditations every day. Okay, this morning I did half an hour. I've been doing half an hour lately because I've been talking to somebody. Been talking story. Let's talk story. Okay, anyway, been talking story. So I don't do as much as I used to, and I once in a while I go back and I do an hour or an hour and a half. Okay, it depends. And then when I have spare time during the day, I go do another meditation. Okay, why? Because this opens you up to good things. It really does. And it also explains to you. Okay, and you understand this by going through it. Okay, so if you haven't gone through it, you don't know. Trust me, you do not know. Okay, but when you go through it, you understand the expansiveness of awareness. You understand the kingdom of heaven. You understand what Jesus was talking about when he said the kingdom is within. Because when you go within, you can enter into this kingdom, but the kingdom is within. So unless you go into the kingdom and unless you are still for an extended period of time, you don't know the kingdom. Okay? You can keep reading your Bibles. You can keep going to church. You can keep going to temple, keep going to, whatever, synagogue, whatever you do. Okay? However you believe, you're never going to experience the kingdom. But you need to just go in and be. It's about being. Because you are awareness, okay? So there's that. All right. So oxytocin is also referred to as a love hormone, okay? Just so you guys know, it's like bonding and attachment. If you do my vocal exercises, okay, for an extended period of time, like in front of somebody else or with somebody else, okay, they feel that deep connection. Okay. And this is kind of like the deep connection many people feel after sex. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like, that tired but euphoric feeling. That's what it is. And these chemicals get produced every time you do this vocal exercise. Okay. And it's basically driving not just the physical pleasure, but emotional pleasure as well. Okay. The eyes are the mirrors of the soul. The voice is the mirror of the feelings and emotions. Okay. Sometimes my brain works too fast and I can't articulate it as fast as I'm thinking it. So that's why that happens. And I get tied up with it. But yeah, so you have to understand that your voice can iron out your emotions. It can make you emotionally intelligent. The expression from your voice, but you got to do it with straight tones and you have to do it with pressure. Okay. And it will start firing your hormones. Okay, the neurotransmitters in your brain will start firing these hormones. Okay, so we provoke these things in people. We make them come out. We make them happen. They get lightheaded when they're finished with their vocalization, and then they become confident. Why? Because they're settled inside, because they're clear inside. And with clarity comes all kinds of good stuff. When you make decisions out of being clear, it's very different than making decisions in fear, making decisions in anxiety, making decisions when, you really, you really should be kind of chilling and, like that, right? So when you rush to judgment, when you rush to decisions, when you rush to things, okay, so when you're rushing, you're not being grateful. Okay. Now let's recap really quick. Okay, because we're running out of time, and I really want to get this across to you guys. Okay, because when you're doing these affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization, okay, in the manifestation process, ask, believe, receive. Okay, it's important that you know that asking is done within. Okay, a lot of people like kneel by their bedside and they pray and they ask and they ask and they ask and they ask, but they're asking out here. Okay, you have to ask inside. Now, prayers are also internal. Okay, so not every prayer is external. But I'm just saying, when you pray, Jesus said, when you pray, go into your closet. Where's your closet? Okay, it's a metaphor. It's talking about inside, not outside. You don't have to speak the words out loud when you pray. Just think them. Okay, thought carries vibration. Okay, thought carries vibration, and it will align with higher vibrational thoughts. It will align with higher vibrations. Okay, so make sure that you do that. And as long as you do these things in order, attention, intention, okay, and then result, ask, believe, receive, everything will turn out. It will start to turn out. And you can live the life of your dreams. And what am I talking about? Like everything's going to be easy? No, you're going to have challenges. But you're going to have good challenges, okay? You're going to cry in your Mercedes instead of your $400 Toyota, okay? I thought I was kidding that time when I said that. And I said it out loud, and I said, I would rather cry in my Mercedes. And guess what? Like one day, a few weeks later, there I was in this very ritzy mall, right? I was outside in my Mercedes, and I opened my Bible because I was reading my Bible or whatever, and I received a little reprimand, and tears came to my eyes, and tears started flowing down my face. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm crying in my Mercedes. Okay. Sorry, I gotta go. But yeah, you can cry in your Mercedes, you can cry in your Rolls Royce. It's your choice. Or you could cry in your $400 Toyota like I had. Yeah, it was unreal. I think I was crying because I had the $400 Toyota. Hey, we want to thank Voice Master family of service companies, also AFM Hawaii Music with the music of Darren Chinen. You can find him online. Please support Darren and support AFM Hawaii Music. Until next time, I'm Junior Kekuewa Jr. saying, ask, believe, receive, and it shall be yours. But you got to go within. You got to go within the kingdom. Till next time, I'm Junior saying mahalo and aloha.